Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of CBD 101. It's Dr. Sharma and me, Chad Chong here. Excited to see all of you. As always, guys, whoever's coming, watching live, please let us know your name and where you're dialing in from. Drop a 1 if you are watching this live. Drop a 2 if you're watching a replay. But I want to see who's coming on right now. You know what, Keenan? Are you trying to play a game? Keenan is on the first person on every single week on CBD 101, on our Mind Mover Mondays, and anytime we pop on a Facebook Live, Keenan is a trooper. He's always on first. Hey, Lisa from Brisbane. Roxanne from New Zealand ByDzyne. We got the Kiwis in the house, and hopefully Roxanne, it's you're from New Zealand, I guess that's right. Jane, how you doing? Karen from San Diego, how you doing? Good to see all of you guys. Well, today's episode is going to be really special, and Dr. Sharma, thank you so much for coming on. I know it's after Christmas, right before New Year's. How was your Christmas with yourself and your family, Dr. Sharma?
Oh, it's fantastic, Chad. It was very good. It was good to have everyone together. I'm sure it was crazy at your house.
It was. My brother-in-law flew in from out of state to spend some time with us. So it is a madhouse at home with all the kids running around.
He has young kids too?
Well, you know what? He has his third coming.
Oh, God bless. That's great.
Natita has 2 brothers. One has 3, and one has the third one coming, and we have 3. So it's a party in the house with 9 kids. 9
That's
kids all
great.
ages coming soon. So it's pretty crazy. But guys, everybody's coming on from Arizona, San Diego. We got our internationals coming in. Good to see all of you from Malaysia. And there's more and more people coming. Good to see everybody coming on every single week for this episode of CBD 101. Before we came on in the green room, I call it green room before we get on, we're talking about next week's topic. And I'm so excited to talk about next week's topic, but this week's topic is all about anxiety. And Dr. Sharma, before I turn it over to you guys, you know what? I want everybody to post, everyone to post. You know what? There are people around us that suffer from anxiety, and I guarantee you have something that can really help support them with this anxiety. And today I want you to really understand this. And you know, for the people that you love out there that you think may be suffering from this or might have this, you know, just send them this episode for them to see and let them understand more. Because sometimes people don't know what they don't know. And I'm going to share some statistics before I send it over to Dr. Sharma. But here's a good thing, guys. As a marketer, what I would do and what I will do is that I'm going to send a little bottle. If you go to Amazon, I bought little sample bottles. You can buy, I don't know how many ounces, but I think it's like a 3-ounce sample bottle with a dropper. And what I did was I took my ALLUR and poured it in there and gave it to people. And I'm getting some great results. Even with the bombs, you can buy little travel packet sizes and you can put it in there and give it out too. So guys, that's something you can really do. But check this out. Did you know anxiety are one of the most common things in the US, affecting 40 million adults in the United States over the age of 18. 18.1% of the population every year. So nearly 1/5 of the population every year suffers from anxiety. Anxiety is highly treatable, but yet only 36.9% of those suffering receive treatment. That's virtually 1 in 3. Think about it. It is very highly treatable. It says highly treatable, but only 1 out of 3 actually treats themselves. Here's another thing. People with anxiety are 3 to 5 times more likely to go to a doctor, 6 times more likely to be hospitalized than someone who doesn't. So anxiety disorder develops from a complex set of risk factors, including genetics, brain chemistry, personality, and life events. So guys, the biggest thing I want to share with you right now is from what I read here is that only 1 out of 3 go see the doctor because it's extremely highly treatable. But, you know, I don't know this, but Dr. Sharma, when they go to a doctor with anxiety, and correct me if I'm wrong, what do they normally suggest them take? Take pharmaceutical products or go with something like CBD?
You know, they'll probably recommend some lifestyle issues, and they'll probably put them on an antidepressant. So they'll probably recommend a pharmaceutical.
Because I see a lot of comparison with anxiety and depression, right? Do they go together?
Right. They go kind of hand in hand because, you know, you bring up a great point. Most people suffer from anxiety, and memory and stress are really, you know, they're linked, and they create this, you know, we all have common experiences. Maybe something as trivial. Okay, you're a golfer. For me, the worst part of my game is near the hole in terms of putting, or in the sand and trying to get out of the sand. And those memories of not being able to do it, and again, this is a very trivial example, but not being able to do it makes my chances of succeeding that much worse, because it's the memory of my past experiences that create all that anxiety and stress before a simple task like that. And magnified if people have, you know, stresses in their personal life, stresses at work, that is magnified so much fold, right? Because experiences, you know, as you can see from this slide, really it's a very simple slide. The front of our brain is really the most recently developed. And that's where all of our cognition, thinking, problem solving comes in. But it's really the older parts of our brain, the amygdala and hippocampus. I'll show kind of where they are. The very small parts of our brain that are older that actually sense our experiences first. So whenever we're experiencing something, it goes through our memories first before it gets to the upper part of our brain where we can problem solve and think. So we're already emotionally charged in an experience. Does that make sense?
So what you're saying, Dr. Sharma, is that when you experience something, it will go through your memory first to let you know if you have a good or bad memory of it before it actually gets to your mind to kind of understand what it is. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, that we're sort of hardwired into remembering and having emotions about our experiences. So if you've had a bad experience in the past, you may have a fear. You know, that's sort of, fear is a psychological result from anxiety, from stress, from previous experiences, right? Just like my golf shot analogy, I'm afraid that I'm going to hit a very bad shot. So the chances of me actually problem solving, getting ready to do it, and actually trying to do it can lead to failure. Does that make sense?
Understood. So, okay. So one of the things I do when I do something that could be slightly dangerous, like bungee jumping or jumping out of a plane or public speaking, I kind of not think, but I just put myself in front of it. Maybe that's why I try not to think of anything negative. I just don't think. So right. Maybe that's a good thing why I don't think and I just do. So how does CBD help with that?
Oh, that's a great question. So as we go through, you know, we were talking about the different parts of our brain. It's really this is a cross section of the brain. The amygdala and hippocampus are very sort of old parts of our brain, very small areas, but they're going to process our experiences before it even gets to the top part of our brain, to kind of think through the experience, or think through and problem solve. The amygdala is really where we can have sort of that fear and flight, where you're afraid and you just want to flee, or you face your fears and, like you said, not think about it, just get in front of it and jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really a way of trying to understand, because anxiety affects, like you said, a lot of people worldwide. And it's really from our past experiences, our memories, our feelings toward those experiences that creates anxiety in ourselves, right? It's this sort of seesaw where it's good or bad, right?
So Dr. Sharma, can you go back a little bit? So when go back one more slide, please. So when we talk about these two words, the hippocampus,
And the amygdala, yeah.
and amygdala, can you explain maybe in layman's term what those two are again?
So think of it like they're hardwired.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna have, before it can go to the front of your brain where you can kind of think about it, you're hardwired to act a certain way, right? You probably see it in your kids. You've got 3 beautiful kids. They all probably do things differently faced with the same experience, right?
Yeah.
And it's just learned behavior. It's something that is so innate to us that, again, going back to the golf shot analogy, the reason that I keep not doing well is because of my bad memories. And instead of thinking through it, taking time, I'll rush to hit the same poor shot. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And I'm, again, it's a very trivial example, but just magnify that to a person that's dealing with stress or anxiety in their personal life, with a spouse, with a child, or at work with a difficult boss, or, you know, coworkers. That sort of experience, and just to try to get all of our people listening to understand, anxiety has a lot to do with our memories and our past experiences.
Okay. Okay, understood.
Gotcha.
Got it.
This has really been treated in both with herbal medicine, both in China and in India, for the last 2,000-3,000 years. Ayurvedic medicine's been using essential oils to help treat anxiety for thousands of years. And the way that CBD can work is that you look at this is kind of a schematic of different receptors in our brain, right? We have, like we've talked about in the past, we have CB1 receptors. We have, in our brain, we have opiate receptors that help kind of numb the issues with pain. We have different ones that both dopamine and serotonin have to deal with anxiety and depression, okay? CBD can bind to those receptors and decrease the stress of an event, or decrease the anxiety of an event, right? Because those receptors are bound to something. That makes it's kind of a very simplistic way of looking at it, but that's basically how CBD can help work in the brain. It doesn't usually bind to the CB1 receptor, but perfectly, but it can block it, right? Or it can connect to it, as well as both dopamine and serotonin. And then there's another important these are all chemicals in our brain. These are all neurotransmitters that connect our neurons together to have those emotions from an experience and problem solve if we're going to actually kind of think through an experience or think through a set of problems and try to work through it. These are the chemicals that actually do the work between our neurons. Another important neuron another important neurotransmitter, I'm sorry. Before we get to that, I'll show you in terms of how essential oils can work. Terpenes can bind to receptors, which we'll get to, but they can also increase the effectiveness of neurotransmitters by decreasing their breakdown, right? Our whole goal is to try to help the brain do its job in terms of when we're in the fight mode or flight mode. Usually you'll have a surge of what's called, one of the neurotransmitters is called dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have a surge of dopamine, right? CBD can block those receptors and sort of have a calming effect. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
We've talked about quite a bit of terpenes in the past, and you can see what. So in Allur's brand, we have limonene. Limonene is an incredible terpene, and it can affect so many different parts of the brain, as you can see, in terms of movement or feeling sleepy, decreasing anxiety, helping with seizures, coordination. And limonene, as in our Allure brand, it will affect quite a bit of receptors in the brain. One of the neurotransmitters that we haven't talked about is GABA. GABA is a inhibitory neurotransmitter. It calms people down. So if you're able to increase the levels of GABA, you'll have a more calm, more decrease the stress of any kind of event. Makes sense?
So you're saying that in our Allure brand, we have
limonene. Yeah, the one that's in yellow, limonene.
And the X's means the X's means it helps that, right? It means that it has it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Is that like a standard product that a lot of CBD has these terpenes, or is it something that
usually, and like we've talked about this in the past quite a bit, as a company, we put what we have in our products right up front, right? So very few companies have COAs that show what is in their product. Most people, again, due to cost, we use distillate in our product, which is more expensive, and it's broad spectrum, meaning that it's going to have other things in it. That's why we talked, I think we talked in our label, our episode when we talked about how to read a label. Being able to read a label and understand exactly what's in it is so important, because there are quite a bit of companies that will use CBD isolate, which is, it's CBD, but that's all there is in it. There's nothing, there's none of the entourage effect or the synergistic effect of the terpenes working with the CBD to help create the effects that we hope to provide, customers, members. And that's the great benefit of the Allure product, because it does have limonene in it. There are other terpenes that are, again, beneficial and decreasing stress. Linalool is a really common terpene. It's basically from lavender, and lavender oil is used worldwide, in terms of vaporizers, candles, to try to, again, decrease stress, because you're vaporizing that essential oil, whether you burn it in a candle or it's in a vaporizer or a tincture. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think that was basically the end of the slides. But again, this is a really complex topic, but I tried to make it fairly simple. I think the really big takeaways for everyone is memories impact our experiences so much when it comes to stress and anxiety. And we don't even recognize it at times, right? It's automatic because we, as human beings, make the same mistakes sometimes, right, in our lives. And it's the CBD can help with anxiety, as well as the terpenes can help with anxiety by affecting the receptors in the brain that will decrease stress, decrease anxiety.
So that's pretty awesome to know, Dr. Sharma. I didn't know about, the anxiety brings up the memories of the past, and then CBD can help alleviate that. So that's awesome to note. So in your experience, Dr. Sharma, let's say all our brand ambassadors watching this right now, and they may know someone that could have anxiety. I mean, in your experience, I know you've seen so many patients, 35,000 patients plus in your career. What is the best way of sharing something like this recording to someone with the product? I mean, I don't think if you go up to someone who's anxiety and say, hey, I think you have anxiety, or I don't think that's a good approach. So what is a good approach? Can you recommend our brand ambassadors if they think that someone may benefit from watching this replay and our product?
So one way would be, again, trying to be able to be mindful of how memories impact our day-to-day life experiences, and how we can be sort of hardwired to act with our emotions much faster than if we had stopped, take the time to think through it. And the ALLUR brand, the broad spectrum, like I said, has limonene. And if you have our brand ambassadors, and whether it's them, whether it's someone they love or someone they know that are dealing with anxiety, the broad spectrum can help with that. I would recommend that they use it 2 to 3 times a day while they're awake. And again, be mindful of the memories and how they can impact our day-to-day life.
So if I take our ALLUR before I play golf, and there's a shot like a bunker shot or a putting that gives me bad memories, does that mean that with the CBD it will lessen that?
Well, you'll have the benefits of decreased pain, decreased inflammation. You'll probably be more ready to hit the shot, and then you'll probably be a lot more relaxed. You'll be able to kind of focus and think through the shot.
Yeah, that's my secret ingredient now. Every time before I play golf, to take some CBD, because it just calms me down. I feel, for me personally, I just feel like my aches and pains is not as prevalent like it used to be before I started using the ALLUR product. So I don't leave home without it. Hey guys, if you don't have our ALLUR, you need it, because I have it virtually in my laptop bag, in my golf bag, in my car, in my toiletry bag, in my suitcase. So there's no way that I don't miss using it on a daily basis. And it's like, I want to use every single drop. Just the other day, I think I finished a bottle, and I virtually took a spoon and tried to get the last drops, because it's precious. Like, it's like liquid gold, right? Yeah. The gold color that comes out. So that's awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma, for educating us and letting us understand how CBD anxiety works. So thank you so much for this episode.
You bet. No, and I look forward to next week. We'll talk all about sleep and insomnia.
So that's right, guys. You heard it. So next week, we're going to talk all about CBD and sleep. Today, we're talking about CBD and anxiety. Hey, guys, why don't you leave down a comment if you go, hey, you want to know about CBD and sleep? For people who's already using it, you know, if you notice that you're sleeping better, like I am, like Natita is, why don't you let us know? Drop some comments. Also, let us know what you want to learn about CBD, because Dr. Sharma, he's here to share with you. And you know what? With everything that our brand ambassadors is asking Dr. Sharma, guess what? It's going to allow us to kind of, by design, create the doctor formula products for everybody out there. So guys, it's that time of the week again. It's 6:30. One episode, another episode of CBD 101 is done. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. Next week is going to be CBD 101. Topic is CBD and sleep. I look forward to everybody coming on next week. And guys, don't forget, in 30 minutes at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we got our Mind Moving Mondays for our updates and our training. So thank you very much, Dr. Sharma. Have a happy new year. And I'll see you next year.
All right. Same to Natita.
Thank you, guys. God bless you guys. See you in 30 minutes. And share this episode. Tag, like, and share this episode to the people out there in your social media, to your friends. You never know that this episode could really, really help someone that is suffering from anxiety. Remember, 1 out of 3, 36% of Americans, 40 million Americans have anxiety. Only 1 out of 3, or 36%, actually seek a solution, which is highly, highly manageable, which in Dr. Sharma experience, CBD is probably one of the best, if not the best ways of helping people with anxiety. With that being said, guys, God bless you. Like I said, my name is Chad.
And Dr. Sharma.
And we live our life by design, and you can too. Bye, guys.